So we'll stop on that note to go on to the next subject, which is really important, podcast listeners. There's a national mullet competition. There's a national mullet competition. Yes, you heard that correctly. And in News Talk Radio, 1290 AM in Texas, it says Texas dude is competing in the National Mullet Championship. And it says, here's the update. I've been made aware that another awesome Texan is part of this National Mullet Championship. Chaz Taylor is also competing and is a wrestler as well. Okay. He actually has some stuff donated to the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame in downtown Wichita Falls, Texas. You can check out Chaz online. I normally say Texas man, but the dude felt 100% more appropriate. The iconic businesses in front and part and back look like they've been controversial haircuts for decades since the 80s. Anyway, this particular article isn't very well written, needless to say, but the mullet it started in the 80s, right? So now there's this national mullet competition, and apparently there's even like a mullet Hall of Fame. So it's called mulletchamp.com. It's the Mullet Hall of Fame, and it has pictures of famous mullet wearers, including Andre Agassi, Billy Ray Cyrus, and Joe Dirt.
Joe Dirt. I was just going to say that. I pulled him up on my laptop.
Mel Gibson, from the 80s, like he totally has a picture of him. Mario Lopez had a mullet at the time.
I mean, the 80s were great, weren't they?
And Bono. So there's a mullet competition, and apparently you went up to $2,500. And that's the deal. So we have a clip on this. There's one gentleman, he's originally from Minnesota, but he's in Austin now. And he has a mullet, and he's entering, and he thinks he has a good chance. And we have that clip, and here it is.
Somebody's going to use it.
It took 3 years to get his mullet to where it is now. This was his hair then, and now he's rocking it. His mullet has even made it to the national stage. Curtis is competing in this year's USA Mullet Championships.
Who would have thought I made the top 25 in the nation? The only one from Minnesota, so just trying to represent.
And Curtis is facing some tough competition. Look at these guys. But no matter the outcome, this mullet is here to stay.
So the mullet is here to stay. And these folks, by the way, they're not just like, wearing a mullet because they're trying to go into the competition. This is the style they like. I mean, they like the mullet thing. Would that work for you, Matt?
God bless them. I mean, I've tried to grow a mullet myself many times, and I can't make the commitment, the long hair and stuff.
Well, you're kind of a child of the 80s, aren't you?
Yeah, I am, man. I do. I like the hard rock. I like the stuff from the 80s.
Did you ever have a mullet?
No.
Oh, really?
Unfortunately, I mean, like I said, I've tried to grow one a few times.
Because you're from a county where mullets probably really in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking that would have been good for my political career back in the day, but my hair is just a little too curly to grow a mullet. But I mean,
just need a classic car,
Chisholm. I mean, you would look good with a mullet. We could go with that full name, Chizdog.
Yeah,
Chizdog.
Right. If it was a guarantee that I was going to keep my hair, I'd give it a shot.
Well, you get the side mullet.
Yeah. And Mark, I don't know if you know, but they had a kids champion too. So it is here to stay because the number one guy is not only missing his teeth there, but he looks like he's 5 years old.
Yes.
So it's generational.
I like that. So it's intergenerational. Apparently, you have a mullet and you've got to have a kid with a mullet, I mean, it's kind of like an 80s icon, show that you would see where everybody's got the mullet. I don't know. I think I saw this story. I had to bring it on Mark and the Millennials because I think it's just a really great idea. I mean, it really gets a lot of people organized, and I think we should do a Democrat mullet competition. Nancy Pelosi with a mullet.
I could see Steny Hoyer with a mullet.
Chuck,
I could.
Chuck Schumer with a mullet.
Yeah.
AOC with a mullet.
Oh,
yeah. Well,
Maxine Waters with the. You ever notice you never see any black people with mullets? I mean, that's interesting.
I'm just waiting
right?
for the Democrats to mandate this.
And by the way, Democrat listeners, this is not a racist statement. You show me a black guy with a mullet, okay? I haven't seen that. I think it was really more of like a kind of
the blend.
Of a white phenomenon for whatever reason. Okay, I mean, I'm not, but it's true. Everybody's awkwardly quiet, but it's true. It's true.
I was trying to think if I've ever saw a black guy with a mullet. I don't think I have.
Here's my point: the National Mullet Hall of Fame. When you go online, it's all pictures of white guys with mullets.
And many of them sing country music for some reason.
And maybe cancel culture should go after them. Maybe they should be canceled because there are no black guys with mullets.
Well, that means there's just an opportunity. I mean, if you're out there and you want to compete,
are there any
$2,500 for you? You're on the mullet.
Why don't we have a Republican mullet competition? You got to show up with a mullet. So that would be
well. There'd be too many. It's too many to compete.
Yeah,
but that would be a good fundraiser. That'd be a good fundraiser, especially in your county.
You have to plan it way ahead, though. It takes a little while to grow that.
It does take a little while.
Mohawks were in for a little while, and then they went straight to mullet. And I guess you lack the commitment to go full Mohawk. I just go mullet.
Yeah, I mean the Mohawk. I actually thought that was at least stylish.
Mr. T had one of those.
Yes, that was stylish. So there was a black guy that had
right.
a Mohawk, but it was not a mullet.
I work out with a guy in my gym that has a Mohawk. He looks like a Viking.
Oh.
He's all tatted up, big dude, Mohawk.
Wait, the guy that stormed the Capitol that had like the
one
big
with
hat,
the antlers,
the big hat and the antlers, was that a mullet? Did he have a mullet?
Was that a wig? It was probably a wig, but
okay.
I mean, it could qualify as a mullet.
Yeah.
Is he disqualified?
See, that's who all the Democrats thought were going to become president, I guess, after the insurrection, was the mullet head guy that looked like he was
with the horns.
with the horns, coming like on a walk from the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.